And welcome to the Silver Short Squeeze. If you're watching this video, I hope you've had time over the years to get yourself some precious metals. I haven't had to panic buy any, and right now you can't buy anything anyway because everything is basically, dealers aren't taking orders, or there's like a 5 to 10 day wait on all the like JM Bullion and all the other online retailers of precious metals. And it'll be interesting to see the market open on Monday. And if the banks survive, it'll be very interesting because there's four big to fail banks or hedge funds that are just super short silver in derivatives. And the people on Reddit, after their impact on Robinhood, and there's a class action lawsuit against that exchange. I guess we'll see how that comes out. For basically stealing from the poor to give to the rich by not letting people buy more stock. They can only close their positions; they can't open new ones. So, just for one day, for the first time ever, the the people who rape and pillaged are used to raping and pillaging the economy, the hedge funds, the banks. They got the tables turned on them, and the plankton went and they started eating the sharks because they were getting the heck squeezed out of them on GameStop. So now everybody's buying silver because it's a huge derivative short, and it'll be interesting to see how the system survives. Are they just going to bail out all the banks and hedge funds? Well, if they don't, yeah, that's right. It'll be game over for the banks, and I don't think you should make this about that. Don't misinterpret the economy being shut down as somehow having to do with patriotism or anything. This is just about criminal bankers ripping people off, and the endless printing of money, and the stupidity of politicians, but for letting them do it and for printing our money into our currency into oblivion. But I don't know how many quadrillions of dollars it'll take to bail them out. So what happened in the Weimar Republic was, after World War I, they had the Versailles Treaty, the armistice, and they forced Germany to pay reparations to France and Belgium and possibly a few other countries. And eventually, Germany ran out of money and couldn't afford to pay reparations to France and Belgium. So France and Belgium said, "Well, where's our money? You agreed to pay us." And Germany said, "We don't got it. Ain't got none." No, they probably didn't say "no tango dinero nada," but that's what they said in German. I don't know how to say that in German, but I do know how to say some other things, but I won't go into that. So France and Belgium sent in the military to shut down the coal factories, and they sent them into the Ruhr to shut down every business by force until they got paid. So Germany said, "Okay, you win. We were disarmed. After world, we don't got nothing to fight off the French and Belgian army, so we just are going to print up some currency, and here it is. Turn on the printing press." And now, where we're at is what happened after that is similar to where we are now. Because what they did was they increased the money supply by exponentially, like a factor of 4, which is what the Democrats are planning to do now, the politicians. And just this short squeeze is going to, even before they even get a chance to do that, it's, this could just destroy everything. So, I mean, well, I would like silver to be, my silver stash here to be extremely valuable. I don't really necessarily want to destroy the banking system, but they pretty much hung themselves out to dry, and they're just don't have any way to cover their positions short right now. And I don't think people are gonna. What happened in Germany was a loaf of bread used to cost $1, 1 mark, German mark, and after a short time, after they printed all that money, gave it to France and Belgium, and all it cost, one loaf of bread cost 100 million marks. And if you look up wheelbarrows full of cash on a search engine, you'll see German citizens with wheelbarrows full of paper money to go buy a loaf of bread. So they eventually printed up 1 million mark notes, so people could buy bread. But that was really almost pointless because the economy had collapsed. And so in comes the National Socialist Party, the Nazis, and Adolf Hitler to rescue people. They had public picnics, fed everybody, and who wouldn't show up for free food when you're starving? And you know, you get to listen to the Nazi speeches and everything, and then applaud when you're supposed to, and then they bring you your food. So, food is a powerful weapon, powerful means of control of the people. But the whole thing is that this money printing is just not going to work. And don't confuse patriotism, please, with if the currency fails, it fails because the banks and the politicians are stupid. And those who don't learn from history, and it has nothing to do with whether you think America's the best country in the world. They just printing too much money. The banks are criminal and corrupt. The exchanges are criminal and corrupt. The Federal Reserve Bank, that's 3 words, and each of them is a lie. It's not part of the federal government at all. It's a private organization. They don't have anything in reserve at all, and it's not a bank. So I hope you have something real, like silver, and not, because it's a very good chance that the banking system fails. The 401ks, everyone's, they'll disappear. The stock market, I mean, the COMEX will close, and there will be no price for silver because it's only set by the COMEX now, and that's all just derivative, fake. That's like fake news. It's derivatives, rehypothecated, imaginary, non-existent silver. I mean, if the world mines 800 million ounces and they trade that like 2 or 3 times that every day on the COMEX, except none of it's real. It's just they made it up and sold it. And that's all they have now is they can just print more money and keep slamming the price down by selling short, imaginary, non-existent silver. But now that there's a short squeeze and there isn't any, and you can't buy it. You cannot buy silver. So it's right on the verge of becoming unobtainium. I mean, go look online. Every online retailer has like either we're not taking any more orders due to high demand, or there's a 5 to 10 day delivery waiting period because they don't have any silver left. It's all gone. It's gone, baby, gone. And so if the banks are actually forced to pony up silver for the SLV, which is a derivative, and people are buying the SLV, just to try and expose the short, but if they have to buy it back at like 50, or when I looked in earlier in the evening, it's Sunday now, it's not Monday morning yet, and it was like a bid of 28 and ask of 29. But if it goes up to 50 or 100, the banking system fails. They just can't cover that position. They can't. They have to buy back the silver at those prices when they shorted it at like $13, millions and billions of ounces over and over again because they thought, I mean, they could push a button and set the price to zero, but I mean, nobody's going to sell them actual silver, and there isn't any. It gets used. It's not like gold. It gets used. It's an industrial metal. Gold just sits in vaults around, but silver gets used. Solar panels, cars. Biden administration wants to build to transform the entire federal fleet of automobiles into electric vehicles. You know how much silver that's going to take? More than we got, more than anybody has, more than at least. I mean, if you ever threw away a cell phone, a flat screen TV, old computer that had silver in it, but nobody's going to go through landfills digging up that shit. I mean, it'll be cheaper to mine asteroids, if you can imagine that. Or there might be silver on the moon. I don't know. I think there is. I think China shot a rocket into the moon and just to see what the dust that it kicked up would be on the backside of the moon. But so shit's about to get real. I'm hoping to get my vegetable garden started because it's not just if this particular silver stash that I put together is worth like in our current concept of what the U.S. dollar is worth. I don't know. Let's say it becomes worth $100 million or something like that. I mean, then $100 million won't buy much. It'll be like maybe it'll buy a loaf of bread. Okay. And most people that I know don't have $100 million, but I do have this particular stash that you're looking at, and if the economy can't function and people just there's no way to buy stuff with a functioning banking system, then we're going to be reduced to barter, and it's just that there won't be any businesses that are open because they will have no way to pay anybody. So our normal concept of how the world works and how people buy food and gas and power and it's all about to change, and probably not for the better. But if you got some silver and gold, you'll probably be better off than if you didn't have any at all. And I hope you guys are, if you do the general prepping stuff, and has some food set back and the ability to grow some vegetables or fruit trees or stuff like that. And you may have to take care of yourself for a while because the government might just take a siesta until this gets sorted out. And I don't know who's going to sort it out. I mean, it's a big mess created by a bunch of criminals, and it has nothing to do with patriotism. It's just criminal bankers gaming the system. And when the whole thing with GameStop happened, the short squeeze of GameStop, they got they got done to them what they've been doing to everybody. They had to run for their lives and get the exchanges to come up with some excuse to shut everything down and freeze everyone's position so nobody could buy any more stock because it was like there's 150% of the float was short. So that's like if you have 1 million shares that were issued by the company and 1 million shares outstanding, and the hedge funds and banks sold short this company for 1.5 million shares. So obviously that extra 500,000 shares didn't come. It just came out of nowhere. It never existed, but they sold it short. It's the naked short, which is just. And they've done the same thing to silver, except worse, and for 150 years or so. And they've gotten more and more, considering they can just print money at will, that bank owning a bank is like a license to print money. Why they had to do this? It was probably because at the government's behest, the government doesn't want people to think that their paper money is actually worthless. Paper money is worthless, and the fiat currency is pretty much worthless too. So, and every country's in the same boat, and there is just a complete unending demand right now for silver, and you could blame it on Reddit people if you want to, but it's not them. It's all the fraud and corruption and out and out just. I mean, we don't need more regulators to regulate the banks. We need the whole system to just start over in an honest way so we can have free markets where there's price discovery. There's a buyer and a seller, and not just four banks using high-speed trading to literally trade 5 times the yearly production of silver on the planet every hour or something crazy to manipulate the price. I mean, there is no silver market. There's just this fraudulent contraption. And so we'll see what silver goes to this week, it looks like. There's just more demand than there is silver. And they exposed the short thing to a lot of people who didn't realize it with GameStop, and now they're doing it with silver because it's even more blatant. It's blatant. The CFTC regulators, their job is to cover for the banks that are defrauding the planet and defrauding America. So, and the politicians, it's when the whole thing with GameStop happened and Robinhood, and there was a short squeeze, and Robinhood just shut down. They prevented people from buying GameStop. I mean, what's wrong with people just buying a stock, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but so for the first time in history, Ted Cruz and AOC actually agreed that they should have a hearing on this, and they never agree on anything, which means somewhere, something in the universe just broke. And that was a comment by somebody who said, this is how black holes are created. AOC and Ted Cruz agree on something that just doesn't happen. So, it's not that, it's just the insanity of the way the world has been working. We live in a time of Orwellian doublespeak. The wheels of power are just, I don't know. The whole world is really chaotic and it's screwed up. So, trying to kickstart my Volcano East Hawaii mutual assistance group here, and we kind of got it started off okay, I think. Got some people interested in it. It's just to group of people making sure that helping each other, or making sure that the mission is that everybody's in the group and their families stay safe in chaotic times. And things look like they're about to get very chaotic. I mean, if silver just explodes this week, then the banks are done. They're toast. Toast. Where's my sound effect on my? I have my old Samsung phone that I still have my sound effects on, so it's used for something. Where is it? Where's that sound effect? The one from Aliens. No, that's not the right one. Ah, right, I'm going backwards. Here it is.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Yeah, that's the news flash. It's just game over. If you don't have silver and gold, it is game over. And even if you do, it might be game over. Um, Try and hang on to it because I'm probably sure somehow, some way, somebody's going to try and take it away from you. Let's see. I'm looking for other cool sound effects. I'm just going to use my newsreel. So that has been the news. There's a silver short in progress. Thanks for listening. This is HVS. And I will talk to you guys real soon.